So, what a wonderful day to have Lobsang with us, and also our dear Alum and colleague Amol with us. And our YouTube audience has already joined us. So, those who are watching on YouTube, welcome to this special evening and this wonderful time and space that we are co-creating together. And at this moment, I will also start the webinar, and I will start welcoming the audience into the webinar room. So, Lobsang and Amol, our audience is very eager to join the session today. In the audience, we have students, we have some of the alumni of SOIL, we have some leaders from the social sector, we have some people from business and industry, we have some faculty members and professors from academics. So it's a very interesting group of people. They are joining from all over the country. And we also have some people joining from outside India and who are all part of this audience. And the audience has just started going. Already there are 41 people in the room, and there'll be many more people who will join as the session starts. So first of all, very, very warm welcome, Lobsang. Thank you very much for doing this for us. And
thank you so much.
Today is Thanksgiving Day in United States. It is also the day which we celebrate as the Martyrdom Day for India, because on this day, we observe this and we celebrate the sacrifice of the virtuous in Mumbai. When the attack took place in Mumbai, so many people were caused needless grief. But there were so many people who acted out of compassion. The Tata Group, the citizens of Mumbai, the NGO leaders. So we want to start a new definition for 26/11. 26/11 was known as the darkest day of terrorism, but we want it to be known also as the day for compassion. So that's why we invited you, Lobsang, today. And therefore, what a delight to have you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would like my colleague Amol to introduce herself briefly as we start the conversation. So Amol, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, so first of all, it's a huge honor for me to be part of this conversation, and very welcome, Lobsang sir. Your words that when generosity is viewed as fixing, we assume something is broken. When generosity is seen as healing, we assume something is weak and wounded. When generosity is done as service, we get wholesome experience. Those were the words that really, inspired me, and I found them really profound. So I'm definitely looking forward to this inspiring conversation. I'm an architect and a social entrepreneur by profession, and an alum of SOIL. Very welcome to you.
So Amol is the prodigal daughter of SOIL who returns to the forum. So thank you very much. So Lobsang, tell us about your life and your life's journey. Where did it all start? And, tell us about yourself and your whole life's journey that has unfolded in such a beautiful way.
Thank you. Thank you, Anil, and thank you, Amol, and SOIL for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this wonderful conversation, and also all the viewers who are also participating for this conversation. I was born in a nomadic family in a remote region of Arunachal Pradesh in Tawang, and I grew up with basically my grandparents. But when I was born, my mom was unmarried, and I had a very difficult childhood, I would say, not easy one. And that was a reason why my grandparent decided to send me to the monastery. So I usually tell that there are, usually two different kinds of people go to the monastery. One would be very enlightened beings like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but there is also another category like me who are very troubled, very, very untamed, and who needs place to really change or transform. So I was in that category. And as my grandparents were getting older, they needed to find a place for me. Just number one, to survive, and to number two, to if I can, to transform myself. And that was a very, very young age. I don't remember exactly, but it was a big decision for my grandparents and for me and whole family member to make a decision, because from Tawang to going to the Mysore side, South India, it was at that time, it used to take 10 days to get to the monastery in South India, in Mysore. And we used to get like 20 to maybe 30 days every 3 years after to meet family members. It was not easy decision. It was not easy a journey. But reason they tried to convince me why such a young boy. And one thing is, I said, we're very troubled young man. I had are you hearing me, Anil? Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. So they were keep saying, while they were trying to convince me to go to the monastery, was, you need to find a human in you. Finding a human me was a clear purpose. And that was the important decision. And I feel that was a very important journey. So the journey to the monastery for me was not becoming a something or anything. It was more about the unbecoming, my unbecoming things, which it was not me, and shedding and unlearning my past and the stories that I tell to myself and the world and others. So that was a reason that they sent me to the monastery. And I basically grew up in a monastery in the South India, which really helped me too. But my battle with myself continued for many, 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 many years. And eventually, I would say that, I'm still in a journey of unbecoming rather than becoming something. But while I do that, so I feel that, there's something that I can also kind of contribute back to the world.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about how then you became a monk, and tell us about why His Holiness the Dalai Lama chose you to also to be posted in United States, and tell us about that experience.
There are some stories, I think, which is not true. I would say, I don't want to use the name of His Holiness and make myself kind of fame on this. And there are some stories I see online or somewhere, it's not really true. And of course, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is our root guru for many, many people, maybe all the Tibetan Buddhist followers. And I'm definitely one of his disciples, truly inspired me. And but there was an occasion that I got one really important opportunity to join one of the course in Dharamsala, which a lot of the monks were very selected by the various monasteries, and around 9 or 10 of us, and I was one who got a chance to study there, and that really inspired me. And the project that I started here in Tawang was we received the first the start of fund through His Holiness blessing. And after that, a few years later, when I got a chance to see him, and again, the Dalai Lama Trust has been very generous to contribute financially to sustain this project. And I think we were very, very, very blessed and very fortunate to have his blessing. And other than that, I don't think I'm anything special. Which is not true. But there are, he's a guru, and I am Nobody. So I think.
Yeah. But Lobsang, you were posted in United States, and many people like to live there. And something happened to there while you were working as a monk and serving your teacher in America. And what made you think of coming back to Arunachal Pradesh and to start this school for the poor children?
When I was there, I think, when you grew up in a monastery and you hear so many great teachings, and, 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 and everything made a sense to you when you're inside the monastery. When I was sent to in the United States for teaching, and the first thing was I took that opportunity because I thought it would be wonderful to see how Buddhism is relevant. I would say more is the ancient Indian wisdom is how relevant it is to the modern life, place like America. And that was something that my personal interest to explore that. And I was there for almost 10 years teaching there. And the more time I spent there, the Buddhism became more and more relevant to my life and to people who were connected to me and I was teaching. But deep inside me, honestly, since I have a history of childhood trauma, and so many things I carry my history with me. And definitely the outside world, the material, the comfort, the pleasure, joy, didn't give me anything. And I was constantly feeling the emptiness inside me. And I was looking for something more concrete, more maybe happiness or peace and sense of contentment. But that was very difficult to find that. And I think that was one reason that I wanted to come back and do something different.
So tell us about your journey from that thought about doing something for these children in Arunachal Pradesh to the way this journey has been in the last so many years. Take us through the journey and take us through how that journey has been for you.
So every year when I come back to India and then travel to this remote corner of the country, and poverty is an obvious thing. And also being remote in this northeastern part of the country was totally abandoned. And like from Tawang at that time I'm talking about, in order to get a simple medical check, we have to travel 17 hours to the X-ray, and talk about anything about education, poverty, and challenges. And at the same time, I would see that so many young children without the education, and I could see my life in them, and that I learned that I cannot undo my life. I cannot undo my life. But what I could do is I can protect these little lobsangs, the wounded lobsangs, from the similar childhood that I had. And that was something that I could connect to them. And there was maybe one of the reasons that I wanted to start something like that. And a lot of reason is my own pain, my own struggle, my own emptiness in my life. Going to the monastery truly helped me to find a purpose in my life. So my grandparents, when they are saying, finding human in me, finding the human me was the purpose that my grandparents sent me to the monastery. And that involved basically what you call the sheddings and the unlearning my past and everything. And then while I was in a monastery as a young monk, and my gurus really helped me to find a purpose in that humanness, finding purpose in human. And there was one thing that always, still with me very, very strongly. And so reason is many people do this kind of thing because they know what they're doing, they're smart, and they're intelligent, and they have a means to do. But my story is very different. It's not that I'm smart and I know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't have any means to start something like this. But it was something very personal for me, and personal for me. And today, maybe 15 years later, when I look back and I thought, yes, I can feel their pain as a young, abandoned, abused, a lot of trauma, many young Lobsangs, wounded Lobsangs, I could see them. Only reason I said, yes, I cannot undo my life, but I can protect them from the similar childhood I have been. And it's really surprised me today is that I learned something really amazing. It was really a bonus for me, is now actually I'm living my childhood with them. When they laugh, when they dream, when their hopes, their dreams are that I'm living through each and every children we have in the community, and which is truly a bonus. I wasn't expecting that, So I don't feel that I missed my childhood, So I feel that, wow, I gained so many childhoods, over 100, and maybe eventually, hopefully more and more.
How wonderful. How very nice. Now, take us through the journey of what have been some of the most beautiful moments in this journey for working with these children and being with these children. Can you describe some moments that stand out for you when you were really special moments in this journey?
Yes, Anilji. There are so many beautiful things. But the one thing I remember, we still have the boy in the community. His name is Sanjay, and he was basically abandoned by his parents. And when first time when I met him in a very remote, near the Tibet border, and he basically forgot to smile, and he even and he didn't know how to talk even. And he joined with us. He came to the community, and I think it took a long time for him to feel as safe and even a talk. And then one of the challenge was he was always like his face was you can't see that anything, that he was just totally shocked. And after a long time, first time when I saw him smiling, and I started crying at that moment, and for me those are very important transformation. Somebody totally forgot to smile, and then after so many long times, after such a long time, then he started smiling. And these are small things, but I think as a parent figure, I think these are something that you would never forget.
How very wonderful.
In your life.
Can you describe to us exactly how you bring up these children? What is your education and other activities? Can you describe some of the work you are doing with these children?
One thing that we do as an adult in our community is a lifelong commitment. So once we bring a child to the community, and we make a lifelong commitment with them, which means not just only supporting through their college if they want to, but even after that, when they get married. So we are always their parents. They can come anytime, or like any kids, they will go, they will get married, and maybe sometimes they get divorced, that they lost their job, but they can always come back. This is their home. So first thing is, this is their home. This is their village. This is their home. And we are parent forever, as long as we live on this earth. And this is the one important thing. So for us, is a relationship is one of the most important things. But since from the first day, our focus is to make these children feel that we are their parents, we are family, and this is their home. And that is our primary focus. And then, of course, the education that we follow a CBSE curriculum. And we have now around 24 children in different colleges. Some of them are in Delhi and Bangalore and the different parts of the country, but they always come back. Now it's a COVID time. All the college students are back here in the community with us, and they are struggling with the internet, trying to do their online course. And we don't have a holiday. So it's basically like being parents, you don't have vacation. We never close. The community never close. We like year long. We live here and work together and everything that we do together.
How many children are studying there with you right now?
We have right now around 103.
103 children. Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell us, to do this kind of work in such a remote location, for example, even for this conversation, the internet that you got yesterday, we did the test, you get the signal from Bhutan, which is 30 minutes away. But because your local Indian signal is not strong enough. So this is just an example of the infrastructure challenges, because it's important to be connected to the world, but there are other challenges also you are facing. So what have been some of the biggest difficulties that you have faced, and how have you overcome them?
Wow. And the biggest, many biggest challenge. And one thing is like, when we were starting this, that, the community, and again, Tawang is already very remote. And within a Tawang district, we are in the remotest place. I could say from the Tawang main town, it's a 2 hours drive to our community. And, the reason, there was a couple of reasons I would like to share with you. One thing was, this is truly, for me, is an experiential adventure. And I call it is a compassion laboratory, living compassion laboratory. Is a test how we could create the true garden of love and compassion. And I needed really a place where if I fail, nobody cares. If I do right, nobody cares. I need a time. So as I said, I'm not intelligent, I'm not smart, and I don't have any background what I'm doing right now. But I really needed a place where I can really explore and test this, whether this is gonna work or not. And can we come up with a model community? Can we come up to a model school? There was another, this is the one reason. Another reason was, so many of my advisors say, this is crazy. Tawang is very remote. Most people will not go to there. And second, then you're going like further, more corner. You're going near Tibet and Bhutan, and 2 hours from that. And how are you gonna survive financially? But also you need marketing. You need PR, and who's gonna see that? But I knew that I'm gonna invest rest of my life, and I wanted to start to do something where I feel at the end of the day, when I die, when I leave this earth, that I want to feel something meaningful that I am contributing. So we actually picked the most difficult place to do anything, and that was very intentional. And we started without the water. We didn't have electricity. We have basically nothing on it. Everything that we have to create the new world. And one of the inspiration when I was in the United States, and we have a friend who has a Montessori school, and before I started this, so I asked if I could join to their school every day, because I was very curious about the Montessori system. So I went with the third graders, class 3 students for a whole week. And one day I saw they were working on a really exciting project. And I asked the teacher, what is this? So the teacher told me that I have given them a good project. I told them, if you guys have all the means and a power to create the world that you wish, so how would you, what kind of the world that you would create? And being young kids, they're very creative. They have an amazing dream. The world free from violence, world free from pollutions, world free from, all the good things. And that was the one thing that I felt, I need to start my world. Go somewhere very remote. If I fail, nobody will know me. And if I do good, nobody will care. But I just need the time and space to really explore this. So whole idea started with this, and endless problem.
What would you describe? I know that people have come from all over the world to spend some time with you. I know you get many visitors from different parts of the world because they all want to come and experience the laboratory of love and compassion that you have. Can you describe what they come and offer to you, and what do you get from them when these people come from different parts of the world as volunteers to come and work with you?
The one thing is a very true support and love, and also moral support. And as I said, this is a place that only people will come if they have a true meaning or true purpose to come here. Otherwise, this is not place that anybody would just come here. And that gives us a lot of encouragement and a hope that although there are our work is very modest, very small project, but people see there as something that we could contribute, or we could give back to the world, and that means a lot to us. And when people leave Jhamtse Gatsal, our community, and they always come back. I don't know anybody, I don't remember right now anybody who just came and left and never, in touch with us. And often, most of the people, they become a part of this small community, and they remain connected to us, and they support whatever they can, in wherever they are. And I hope one thing they would say is, this is a true, they say, they always say this is a true, the garden of love and compassion. And that is, I really hope that they really feel that.
How wonderful. I'm looking forward to the day when the COVID is over and we are able to travel. And I would definitely like to come and spend some time and learn from you and with you there. So I would love to do that.
It would be our honor to welcome you, Anil.
Thank you. Now, tell us about this documentary that was made, the movie, the film, the Tashi and the Monk. How did that happen? And that is a very wonderful film. I've been showing that to our students as well. So tell us about that film and that unique experience.
Yeah, that was something very unexpected, and I still I'm still processing that, how that happened. So it was we had a young American boy. He was around 19 years old, who was doing a fellowship in a Thiel Foundation, and he came here to help us to install some computer devices thing. And then that organization sent Andrew Hilton, who was the director of Tashi and the Monk, to make around 10 minutes of what this young boy is trying to do in our community. And when Andrew came, the movie maker, filmmaker, a director, he was very exhausted. And I remember he was saying, "Oh my goodness, this is my first and last trip to this region. and I'm here for only 3 days. And then immediately after 3 days, I'm gonna go down. Can you arrange my transportation? And thinking, of course, like I say, yeah, of course. He was so exhausted and just so far traveling from Guwahati, maybe 17 hours in a car. So after second day, and he came to my room and he said, hey, Lobsang, I would like to stay a week. Is it possible? And I said, yeah. So he changed his mind. And then he said to me, I have done my project. I came for this reason, to make 10 minutes of the video, what this young boy is doing. And now I'm thinking of making a documentary about your community. Since that visitors, they always come with the cameras. So I took that so lightly. I said, yeah, go ahead. And then he said, but I'm serious. So I said, yeah, I'm serious. Go ahead and start doing whatever you needed to do. And, he was definitely very serious. I didn't know that. And then day before he left, and we had a conversation. And at that time, he was trying to tell me the reason he wants to make this. And he told me that I don't have money right now. I just wanted to be here and experience and then go back, and I have to make money, and I will come back maybe after 1 or 2 years. And that was, he told me. And I said, why you want to do this? And he said, this is something that I feel that I need to share with the rest of the world, because, nobody will come to here, and most people even don't get here and experience this wonderful experience I had. And I just feel I need to share with the rest of the world. So I said, yeah, go ahead. And then he said, I'm really serious. I'm going to make this very big documentary. And then he started actually telling me, you ever heard of Oscar and Emmy? And actually I never did. And he tried to explain me. So I joked with him. I said, okay, if you make me famous movie star, then I'll quit this job and move to Hollywood. And that was my joke. I said, maybe I'll buy, fancy home next to Richard Gere, and we will be neighbor. I joked with him, and he didn't like, but he left. And I think a year or two later, he emailed me and said, now I have just enough money to come back and make it. So he showed up, just himself and one camera. He just showed up. After a year, I think, himself and a camera. And then a month later or something, one of his friends came. And they struggled a lot, the story, Then they started asking me, what we should do, I mean, they just came and they followed our children and me. And we were, most of the time, we were talking in a Mompa dialect. This is a tribe, Mompa tribe dialect. And they would just shoot whole day and maybe 5 days, whole week. And a week later, we will send some teachers to translate that, interpret that. And they will come back to us and say, oh my goodness, this is not what we thought. So their story keep changing. Or we thought, maybe Tashi must be saying something very compassionate and very loving, but she's saying, I'm going to cut your throat. Is it really true? I said, yeah. It's like, so it was a big adventure, adventure. And then they asked me, can you pick some, kids that you think they are not camera shy and they're able to talk? And of course, I picked the smartest one, and he didn't like it. And then he picked Tashi. So then I talked to Andrew. I said, Andrew, you see that I'm struggling to survive on this mountain. And you are picking up my naughtiest kid, and then you're going to tell a story about how horrible she is. I said, this is not working. He explained to me. I said, see, Lobsang, I really want to tell your past stories as how you were as a young monk. But making documentary is not easy. I want to use Tashi as your past also. And then he said, so many older kids that when I see them, I'm really inspired. But, kids don't come to Jhamtse Gatsal, with all these great qualities. And I want to tell is, after many years, through the practice of Jhamtse, love and compassion, and these kids actually transform. So I want to tell history, present, and a future. So that's why he convinced me. I said yes, and they, I think over a month or something, they were here, and they didn't have enough money to go back to London and edit that movie. So they rent an apartment in Kerala, and for a month or two, they were inside a small apartment and editing whole Tashi and the monk. So this is not something that we wanted to make. It just happened, just naturally.
Wonderful. And it won so much of appreciation, and what a wonderful film that is. I hope the audience will definitely see it. I've been showing it to my students in the morning circle. So now, Amol, it's your chance to ask a question, and also start picking up questions from the dialogue box and chat box, which you can repeat. So you may start with your own question and then take questions from the audience. Please start.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, it has been a truly very interesting journey. And the way you have been sharing your story, it completely shows how generosity becomes service. So I was reading one of your interviews, and one line really caught my attention, in that you were saying, the potent mix of love, trust, and hope with discipline and structure revived my love for myself. So I want to understand from you what the parents at home and educational institutions can do so that the youth does not, loses its path.
Wow, that was Amol, can you ask that question again, please?
Sure, sure. So I want to understand from you, sir. You found your way because people trusted you. They showed you unconditional love. So what can parents at home do and educational institutions do so that the youth does not lose hope and its path?
Thank you, Amol. What I feel is, most of our education institution, our schools, we are so much focusing on human doing, and we rarely give a focus on human being. And we all know the unhappy children, they never learn. When you are unhappy, when you're distressed, nobody learns. So it is very important to focus on human being. When we focus on human being, after that human doing, and that's why what I feel important, what we try to do, at least here at the Jhamtse Gatsal, is really taking care of like whole human being, rather than just always focus on, okay, how many marks you got and how you're doing in your math and science. And that, I feel, reason that even today that we look at our own country, and it's a sad that is it true? It's very sad that every hour the one student is committing suicide. Mostly these cases are related to the education pressure, and I don't see any purpose of doing that, and I think also that we need to see that every child has a unique contribution, every child has a unique needs, and we as a parents and educators, that we need to actually see what is their unique contribution, what is your gift, instead of trying to put everything in one box and trying to measure from that. And that is that at the Jhamtse Gatsal, that at least we're trying to do. I'm not saying this is the best way to do, and I still don't know. But what we are learning after 14, 15 years, is when kids are happy, they learn much better, And our job is not to just make sure they all get 100% or they get like above 90, but I think we need to focus first that their happiness, their well-being, and their well-being is more important. And if we can take care of well-being, if we can support that, we can give it that unconditional love and compassion, and I think they actually take care of learning after that. So, and I think while I was growing up, I was not a smart student. I always had a problem. And the things my teacher did with me is he said, knowing is not mandatory, but effort is mandatory. So we do in Jhamtse Gatsal this, knowing or a knowledge or is not mandatory. You don't have to pass your exam. That is not mandatory, but effort is mandatory. So in Jhamtse Gatsal, so we do same thing with the kids. I hope I'm answering your question.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. It makes a lot of sense that obviously when the child is not happy, nothing would make sense, right? So definitely. So I would like to take questions from the audience now. So Dr. Ramaraju wants to understand, in the present world, what is the real meaning of being a human?
Wow. I think this is something biggest challenge that I think we as a human, we have forgotten to live like a human beings. We don't live anymore like a human beings. And I think we need to rekindle the human spirit, and we need to rebuild the human community. And I think that all schools, especially in education, and on actually teaching becoming human, and finding human in ourselves. And then we focus on our doctors, engineers, businessmen later. I think because we always ignore that, and that's why today we have an amazing doctor, but they are not often human. We have amazing leaders, but they are not human. We have amazing successful business people, business leaders, but they are not human. And because of that, I think if we count even the 5 most difficult challenge of today's modern world, all of them were actually created by human, often by the smartest minds has created that, And being human is, it has, when we look, it's difficult for the modern mind to see. We have gone very far away, very far away. The humanness, human has to start from inside, And the core, the nature, the innate nature of human is not greed. Innate nature, the true nature of human is not hate. It's not a greed. And all the wrong things. You see how all the inhuman qualities are normalized in our world today. It is normal to go for war and kill hundreds and hundreds of people. It is normal to hate and discriminate and kill each other for race, for the color, or for the religion, for the politics reasons. These are the inhuman things. When we actually shed that, when we actually remove that, and the being human is a very simple. The true nature of human is compassion, is love, is caring. But it's not any more easy process for we human. We normalize every human inhuman behaviors, and we think the humanness is very abnormal. When you see somebody kind person, or when we talk about compassion, and we feel that, oh, this is a little bit not really a human. People feel uncomfortable when you talk about love, when you talk about kindness, when you talk about compassion. But when you talk about corruption, when you talk about hate, when you talk about discrimination, when you talk about any inhuman behaviors, people say, yeah, this is normal. Yeah, I understand that, because everything is just I think it's gone upside down.
Right, sir. So the next question is from Sneha Yadav. She wants to understand that in current times, all of us feel that we are struggling. So how does one feels liberated? So what is the best way to feel liberated?
Thank you. I would like to start with one story, I think. See, when, especially in a COVID time, and I think, always that you feel helping others and finding your gifts and contributing and serving is a very healing. It's not just a spiritual, it has only just a spiritual values, but itself is already a healing energy. And I think it is very important to get out of that and a narrow mindset of always thinking me and me and me, And we need to get up, we need to see the bigger picture, and we need to start actually contributing and serving other people. And I would like to share a story, what we do at Jhamtse Gatsal. And again, we often think when we want to liberate, when we are looking for our happiness and try to achieve happiness, we become so selfish. We become so the center of the universe, and that doesn't work that way. The liberation doesn't achieve it that way. I would like to share the story that my friend shared me. So the one day a teacher came to the class, to the school, with a lot of balloons, and then he asked all the students to inflate each balloons and write their name on the balloon. And then the teacher says, now just go and throw your balloons in a hallway, the big school hallway. And then after that, teacher told each students, okay, now you go and find your balloons. And you have only 5 minutes. They'll give you 5 minutes. Of course, all the students went in the four hallways and trying to look their balloons, and nobody could find their balloons in 5 minutes. And then teacher said to them, it's okay now. Pick any balloons which is in front of you, and whatever first balloons you find, and pick that and give to the person whose name was written on that balloon. And they did that, and within a five minutes, everybody found their balloons. Then teacher said, the happiness is like a balloon. When we just seek or look for our happiness and the liberation, and we don't find. But when we care about other people, and when we seek or help for other people, and then we get our liberation and happiness too. And I think this is the one thing that we have to do. But often we think, okay, we might have to become like a Bill Gates, or we may become a very, very rich person to make a difference in our life. And you say how big difference we can make it, each and every of us, to actually try to help each other in this difficult time. Things will be changed. At Jhamtse Gatsal Children's Community, every week we give up one dinner. We have a no dinner day in every week. Only below class 5, they are too young, so they don't understand, and they don't do. But above class 5, class 6 to the all including me, every week we give up one dinner, and we call this is to feed the hunger and give a break for our planet. And we collect every month that ration, and we go to the village and give it to people who need the food. And that teaches us so many things, so many things. It gives us a purpose in this difficult time. It gives us, it makes you feel empowered. You could see that I have a reason to exist on this world. It makes you feel very vulnerable. And we do this every week. And the joy that we get from doing small things is immeasurable. It's immeasurable. Years ago, I was in a city in Kolkata, and I was having a difficult time. I was there for some work purpose. I was having very difficult. I was looking for some grounded, some center for myself. And then I saw one young boy. His name was Raja, and he was homeless and is on the street. So I went and started talking to him, and we become friends. I was there for 10 days around, and then we become friends, and we started doing small things together. And he thought I was a foreigner because I went to the city, and I asked him. It was hot. It was summer, and I said, "Do you, Raja, you want ice cream?" And he said yes. So I bought him ice cream and one for myself. And then we were walking back to the area where his family was and my hotel. And he wouldn't eat ice cream. He was keep holding it, and it was melting. Then I told him, Raja, you have to eat this ice cream. It's going to melt. And then he told me, see, it doesn't matter. Even I have a small piece of ice cream, I'm going to actually take this to my younger sister. And it was it really changed my perspective about, wow. And this is an ice cream, maybe you are eating maybe, after many years, or maybe you never had this ice cream, but still that you're not eating this and you're thinking of your younger sister. And I didn't say anything. That just after that, I basically stopped talking to him, and I was keep thinking. It was very powerful, wow, very powerful. And then we reached to his place. He gave that to the younger sister. And while his younger sister was eating, that I see that's, the Raja was just so much in happiness. He was experiencing real happiness. And his sister was the enjoying the pleasure of the ice cream, but the depth of happiness, the Raja was experiencing is something really, really, really amazing. I felt that was a double happiness, And he said to me, you are happy giving this ice cream to me, and now I am happier to give this ice cream to my sister. And I think we all just imagine that all of us can do the small things. It may be very small things, but it may be the big thing for a person who is receiving it. And I think, especially in this difficult time, please do not just sit there, stay there, think about me and me and me. And all of us can do. And there are plenty of the people who need even just a good hug. Please go and give a hug. And you see your liberation. You don't have to search for liberation. And it will come to you. It will come to you. Happiness will come to you.
What a beautiful story and message, sir. So next question is from Khurshid and Navshir. They want to know, how do we weave the philosophy of unbecoming and turning the feeling of emptiness into a feeling of nurturing for the developing leaders?
How we undo. See, we have a very simple meditation that we do at the community. What I call it to empty your trash can, to empty your mental trash can. So basically, it's a part of reflection. So everybody will sit and they will think from the morning what I did. And just say, for example, this morning I was really mad and I was actually got really angry and shouted at him. And during the emptying mental trash, what you call the meditation, what kids do is, they breathe out, they reflect about that situation, and they think about it, they relive through that whole situation. And then they actually breathe out and they visualize, that anger is coming out in the form of smoke, and they're breathing out. And basically, unbecoming is every day that, just don't go to the bed immediately. Before you go to the bed, take 5 to 10 minutes and just reflect and just go very quickly from the morning to the evening that what you did. And is there anything that you dislike about your behaviors and your thinking or anything? And just before you go to the bed and take that out. It means empty your mental trash can, I mean, physically we do. If we go outside to work and, a lot of pollution, dust, immediately we jump to the shower. But what we really do to actually take care of our mental health? We don't. And then we complain and we think we look for pills. This is like a mental shower. We can easily do that. And like even a small thing, don't ignore that. So that is unbecoming. You do more. If you are an angry person, you will see within 2 months that you are becoming more calmer and calmer and calmer. If you pile up all this trash, mental trash, if you don't handle that, and we do become actually the mental trash can for sometimes our family, our loved ones, our society, and our colleagues, and they will dump so many things, and you just keep storing them. And what you do, you just live with that, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So it is a mental shower. But, really, I think about that. And if you don't like things and take that out from your system and that empty your that mental trash can, take it out. And this is a simple thing that we teach to our children. But for me, that when undoing is, I was, honestly, I was so much in a pain and despair that even trying to commit suicide for 3 times. And that kind of darkness is in my. I have to do a lot of undoing, unlearning, shedding. And we can do that. Things that we don't like, and we need to drop that. We need to shed that.
Yeah, there are lots of wonderful comments coming from you for you, Lobsang, on YouTube. Subhashri Minakshi, she said she had the privilege to come to Jhamtse Gatsal exactly last year through Meena, and from then till now, she says she has been longing to come there again. So she's looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Bimlendra Jha, who was the managing director of Tata Steel in Europe and recently managing director of Gujarat Ambuja Cement, he is there and he talks about what is the cause of people forgetting their basic nature of love and compassion, and what's the remedy. And you have answered that in just now the question of this. And there are so many other wonderful comments, including my older brother Rajesh Sachdeva, who was there in Nagaland for a long time and also working there. And he has a question that what kind of languages have you been teaching them, to the children, including besides English and Hindi, are there the local languages? Because he's a linguist, so he was curious to know about that and so many other things. And there are so many other wonderful, there are so many questions, but unfortunately we have only 2 minutes left. So Amol, why don't you summarize what is the one, what is, how would you summarize your learning in this experience? And then I will sum up what we learned from Lobsang today. So go ahead, Amol.
Truly, it has been. So, when I read about you, I was sure that this is going to be a very inspiring session. But sitting in your presence was an altogether different experience. Your idea of generosity actually opened my eyes a lot. So, the way you talked and linked liberation to happiness, to education, to knowledge, to generosity, and talking about a wholesome being and what is the meaning of human being in today's context, that was, it was really mind blowing for me. And I'm sure the audience must have also got a lot of inspiration from you. There's something I was reading in one of your interviews. You mentioned that this is one of your long-term goals, that you want to create a school where all the three pillars of your dream project comes into being. So I'm an architect, so we work in designing. We design schools. I don't know in COVID times when would it be possible, but I would be more than happy to offer my service to design that space for your community. I'll be more than happy. And thank you so much, Anil sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank,
So,
thank
Lobsang, I want to also summarize what I learned from you today. Actually, on more than one occasion, my eyes had tears because what you taught us, you cannot change the circumstances in which you were born, but you can feel grateful for the opportunities your grandparents gave you to send you to the monastery. And there in monastery, you truly understood what the purpose of life is. You started appreciating what is the word human all about. And that foundation that was given for you as that experience, when you went to the so-called developed country of United States and you were teaching and you were finding the interest in Buddhism, but you were not complete. A part of you said, I want to come back to my country. And I want to ensure that those children who do not have the circumstances given to them, they have not chosen how they were born or treated, but could one encourage them to understand who they really are, that they are not limited by the external environment, but when they honor the loving kindness within themselves, when they truly understand that the meaning of education is not just to know something or to only do something, but the whole meaning of education is to really know themselves, to source well-being, and to really take responsibility for understanding how to live life rather than only go for some endless objectives that the world specifies. You reminded us that success is not measured through things like what the world thinks is important. You reminded us that the whole world is just talking about, even the media and the news and everything is talking only about problems. And everybody is obsessed with not what is working. And you reminded us, instead of cursing the darkness, we could light a candle. And you said, even if to make a life difference to one person and one child, and you can see the child who has not smiled for years suddenly learns how to smile, you feel your life is worth it. Just in that moment, you feel life is worth it. Thank you for teaching us so well. Thank you for teaching us generosity, loving kindness, and compassion. And it has been an absolute privilege to be in your presence. We first spent several days together when we were in the retreat in the Gandhi ashram in Ahmedabad. And it was so special being with you. And I hope one day we will get your children to come and study in soil, and it would be our honor to provide them scholarships and to provide them education in our institution. I hope we are able to get that privilege of getting some of your children to study in soil. And you know, the whole revolution of soil in higher education is based on very similar principles to what you are practicing. So I just want to say that it's been an absolute privilege to be with you today. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Anil. Thank you, Amol.
Thank you.